Welcome, chat. We do appreciate patience. We apologize for the tardiness, but show me a perfect person, and I will show you a liar. Let me silence all those. So yeah, we are. Oh man. Oh, my apologies. Yes, we are extremely late today. Do appreciate everybody's patience. Those of y'all who are tapping in, just getting here, whatever have you. I lost track of time. We are extremely late. Hell of a title, though. Hell of a title. Taken. What is the scariest part? That is a hell of a title. Dr. Blind, appreciate you. What's going on, sister? How's everything?
Peace, peace. Everything is good. I was wondering what was going on. I said he wasn't having no show tonight.
Yeah, I was just telling the live, telling the chat, we are extremely late and we apologize for the tardiness, but you show me a perfect person and I will show you a liar. So, so we not perfect, but we here. So we
I
appreciate
didn't hear that.
everybody.
I think I'm having problems with my internet too on this side. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, I said I was telling the live chat, show me a perfect person and I'll show you a liar because, you know, these things happen sometimes.
That's the truth. There's no perfect person.
Yeah. So we do apologize, chat. It didn't obviously wasn't part of the plan, but things happen. But we here now, and we still, we got time to spare, and we got a heck of a topic. So all we can do is make do with what
Yeah,
we got.
but they're really messing with the internet system big time too. You understand? I found that no matter who I talk to, whether it's here on the continent, there in America, in the Bahamas, in Jamaica, or even in the UK, everybody is experiencing the same problem with their internet services and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it.
What's
You
up?
know, honestly, it makes sense. What's going on, brother? What's going on?
Nothing much.
Yeah.
Hey, hey, Jay Hooks the Great House.
Peace, peace. I'm good, sister.
That's good. That's good, my brother. Ooh,
So yeah, heck of a topic, man. AI taking over. But my favorite
Yes.
part of the title is what is the scariest part? You know, everybody's scared of AI, but I think we got something else we need to fear, you know, when discussing that topic.
Yeah. I mean, I sure the scariest part for me is the chaos that I think is going to follow behind it. So many people losing jobs. People gonna try to find a way to eat. They gonna do whatever they gotta do. You know.
Yeah,
So I'm my job. They working tirelessly to replace truck drivers with these AI trucks, and they trying to have it done in the next few years. So I got to figure something out.
yeah.
but think,
I, I mean,
about it. Think about it. If we were watching the cartoon George Jetson all the way back then, they've been telling us what was already in the pipeline for,
Yep.
for a very, very long time. And the most important thing we were supposed to be able to do is to be able to have roof over our head, water, and be able to feed ourselves. You understand?
Mm.
And then what they do, they keep us distracted with the job to the point whereas they start taking all the seeds out of the fruits, out of the food. So
mm,
now it's going to be hard to find fruits with seeds inside of it that you can grow your own food. You understand, to be able to do the indoor cooking, I mean, indoor gardening and stuff like that, or balcony gardening and stuff like that. So
Mm.
they've been pushing you into this the dilemma that they would have to feed you for a very long time, and we were not paying attention to it. That was one of the major reasons of me making the transition and coming here, was to
yeah,
be able to secure indigenous seeds and a place to be able to farm and grow your own food.
absolutely.
Uh-huh. And not only that,
Yeah.
plus just being around a number of people that know how to live off the land and know how to make something out of nothing. Because that's one thing that I tip my hat to. A lot
Yep.
of Africans that I've noticed from my perspective of life is that I've noticed that a lot of them just seem to know how to make something out of nothing, literally nothing, and they make it turn into something. So I absolutely
Yep.
admire that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's it. So they,
Yeah,
yeah, they've been putting these things, but we just saw them as entertainment. You understand? Laughing and giggling and stuff like that. But the thing is they could not do anything without telling us first.
yeah.
Hmm.
Because
Here's the thing that
the
nobody.
Flintstones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go
It's like the
ahead.
Flintstones, the Jetsons. No, I was just gonna say, here's the thing that a lot of people don't look at. Like like people worry about AI, but you know who's been the number one problem on the planet? What's been the number one problem? It's been humans. You know what I mean? AI is not the problem. It's the human behind the AI that's going to be the problem. It's going to be some, as I like to call it, some a-hole in his basement that is going to remove all the barriers just so he can teach the robot to rob people or to rob banks or something. And because it's AI and it's going to know exactly how the police system works and how the police operate, It'll be able to escape capture and all this different stuff. Like that's the stuff that's really that makes everything scary, because what they're talking about now, what they're discussing, and doing my research on NIST, the NIST, and the acronym is escaping me right now, but you guys can look it up. But they're discussing the parameters and the barriers and all the leashes that they want to put on AI, so stuff like that does not happen. And because they're talking about that and they're actually implementing a lot of different stuff and they're testing a lot of different stuff, the chances are, if they're able to get it done fast enough, which they seem to be on, and I got a good read, I'm a read to everybody, but they seem to be on that path already. So as long as we can get that done before we get people who are goofy enough to remove all the restrictions and to start tampering with stuff, and as long as we can make sure that don't happen, we'll be just fine. We won't have to worry about AI. Now, as far as AI taking your job or anything, listen, there are jobs that AI ain't never going to be able to do. And like you said, bro, with the trucks, there's a lot of different countries and a lot of different authorities and different businesses that will not trust AI with the truck, just simply because that driver needs to have a certain type of human quality that is called instinct. It's called, spur of the moment type of thing. AI is not going to be able to, maybe it can go and rush in a burning building, but to be a police officer with zero police, like how's it going to understand that, you know what I mean? So, the human aspect that needs to be there. So there's some jobs that AI is just never going to be able to touch, in my opinion. I don't, and there's a lot of folks that agree with that. Just, it's some
Yeah, there
things
are
you're gonna.
jobs that they're not going to be able to.
Mm-hmm.
There are going
Yeah.
to be jobs that they're not going to be able to touch. But at the same time, too, like you said, when you have those Dr. Strange in the laboratory doing things that they're doing,
My apologies for interrupting you, sister. I love that because I've been calling it an a-hole in the basement, but I like that better than Doctor Strange's. I'm gonna start using that. Go ahead, sister.
when you got those Dr. Strange in the laboratory doing all kind of nonsense, cooking up all kind of concoction, because, but like I'm saying, these things is now public knowledge because we are in the age of information. But they have always been among us. They've been always testing these things and putting it among us. And to say AI is taking over is to say that they we are giving them that power. Everything that AI has is what we give them. It has to be the humans giving them the information that they have. Yes, I see people questioning the AI, tell me about this and tell me about that and what you think about this. But how did AI get the information if somebody did not download? How did Google get the information if somebody didn't type the information inside there for it to come forward? It's like for me right now, I'm learning to use a portion of AI, right, in terms of doing animation and storytelling and stuff like that. But everything it does is me giving them the exact information of what I want it to do, what I want it to say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Understand? And so that's the AI. What we're seeing is the AI that, like I said earlier, and I take no apologies for it. The Doctor Strangers are in the laboratory programming and putting in things inside there because they want to be able to pull a kill switch. That's why they was giving the people the jobs that they was giving them, because in those jobs is a kill switch that they have the what you call it, the copyright or the patent for, that they can now program the kill switch that they've put inside people through those jobs that they was putting in them from 2020 to till now. People's going to get this one, the first the second one, and then the booster, and the third booster, the fourth booster. Why? Because I'm now putting these things inside you. So when I pull the kill switch, you understand they come together, and you no longer have control um, over your body, over your thinking, and so you become an AI also because your intelligence no longer your own intelligence. We talk about artificial intelligence. It ain't only artificial intelligence. It is auto control intelligence now, where I can control what you're doing because I put these things in you in micro, what you call these things, MRI chips in small portions, in micro nanic portions, that when I'm ready, I can assemble them and they take over you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So AI is not only just going to be the robots, but AI is also going to be human in human flesh form also. Because look at how some people look at us. Some people, when you look at them, they're just a blank stare. It's just a flesh, and as if they are no longer there. Their spirit, their soul is no longer there. It's just a body, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some of these drugs
So
that these people are now using.
be honest with you, sometimes I be feeling like that. I be feeling like my mind is out of this world. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just, I feel like my body is on autopilot sometimes. To be honest with you, just going along with the motions of the day to get through the day. But a lot of times mentally, I'm far out of this matrix. You know.
Yeah. And I mean, as we should be, because it's okay to step in and out of self or in and out of body for, for whatever reason. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
we got to step out when we have a loss and we don't know how to deal with it or whatever. You got to step outside and, that's okay. But to find yourself having to step outside due to the surroundings is kind of, that's where we want to get to a point where we can change those surroundings. So the more we keep, working on that, we'll be fine. But we we do got some clips. Oh, we lost the sister. She'll be back, I'm sure. We do got some clips to show y'all that, there's the potential dangers of AI, but also the advancement and the the great benefit to humanity if we keep a leash on this thing. And that's what it's all about. We have to keep a leash on it. That's it. As long as we focus on that leash and focus on making sure that that leash cannot be broken no matter what, we'll be just fine. And that's the only thing. It's like, you watch like iRobot or these other movies or whatever, and you just see like they got these three laws and this, that, and the third. And it's like, no, you need a lot more than just three laws. You need to make sure that, and I've got a list of them, and we're going to run them down. But first, we're going to let the Dr. Sublime back in the building, and we are going to play this clip. But, that's ultimately what it comes down to. And that's just the truth of it. The other part of the what we need to fear from AI is not just, I mean, it is the human aspect, but it's goofy stuff we're about to show you in just a second anyway. So let me let the Dr. Sublime back in the building first, because she's sitting in the lobby. All right, awesome. So the doctor's back, and we got some clips for y'all. Shout out to the chat. I don't know how to pronounce that. We're just gonna say tax because that's what's at the end. Tax, we appreciate you tapping in. Jay Breezy, and that's all that's in the chats right now. He Man, what does that say? I don't know. He's speaking Spanish, but anyway. So yeah, let's play this video. We got robots cooking your burgers. And I mean, honestly, I like to say, y'all, it's a little violent looking, but I think we might get a kick out of it. So
World's first ever fully autonomous AI-powered restaurant has opened, complete with burger flipping bots.
This automated grill gives the meat its sizzle as this restaurant goes robotic.
For this burger, it will take about 120 seconds.
Cali Express by Flippy is the world's first AI-powered eatery. There's new technology outside the kitchen, too.
A cheeseburger.
Order kiosks use facial recognition to remember you, your favorite food, and how you like to pay. Then watch the robots work. No humans required.
We can't get enough people to come out to work on fryers and grills, and they're dangerous jobs. And this automation helps solve a lot of those issues.
62% of restaurants report being understaffed. Industry experts say most of those unfilled jobs could be done by robots.
So, yeah, again, that's a human error. That's a human issue. These restaurants had to use these robots because, number one, people don't want to go to work since the pandemic. And number two, most importantly, these employers don't want to pay enough money to do these jobs. So then you got the robots, and now it's like, I mean, you can see that thing was violently smacking that spoon against that pan, and the other one backed up. I don't know if y'all saw that. The other one was backed up when he first was slamming that spoon on the thing, but and in the first one, it just looked like it was humping the shit out of that the tray thing. The doors were flying open and everything. So, that one caught me and was like, I get it, but it's like, I don't mind if the AI makes my food. I don't want it driving a big semi. I definitely don't want it being police, which is they're utilizing that now. And maybe a police dog that that's going and doing bombs or whatever. They've been doing that in the military for a long time. Anyway, so
my thing is, the grand slam of things is all about control. You know what I'm saying? I like how they trying to paint this picture as if they've been sitting back thinking of ways to make the world a better place, and this is it. By using AI, it's the same. To me, it's the same tactic they always use. Like I said once before, one of the greatest lies ever told was "it's for your safety." They're using the same thing. They're trucking. The video I was watching the other day, they was using some of the same points. Well, we come up with these AI driving trucks. We got no more fatigue drivers. Fatigue. Well, it was fatigue and something else, another excuse that they use. But my thing is, how about just instead of putting all this money, time, and effort into creating these robots, how about just creating a better system? See, the way I imagine it could be, give more people jobs, right? And instead of having, let's say, we need to, I feel like we need to live in a world that's more about everybody working together just to live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we could do that by giving more jobs, right? And instead of these 8-hour shifts, they just mentioned how, well, somebody just mentioned how people don't want to come to work. Yeah, people's tired working 40, 50, 60, sometimes more hours a week to make a living, and then you can't even buy things you really want to have. Sometimes you work in the work, and I've been there. I've literally been in those shoes where I was literally working to be able to afford to work. So imagine a society where the days is not 8-hour days, 12-hour
Yeah.
days. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And instead
Yeah.
of and then 4 to 5, 6 hours at best. Switch it off. Now the next person come in. So now you got more people having jobs, a better economy, and then I just feel like we need a government system. So I know somebody probably gonna say, well, with jobs with these small companies, they can't afford to have multiple employees and blah blah blah. But that's where the government steps in. You know what I'm saying? And okay, you got a job, we know you working, here's a bonus check. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe we don't stop paying taxes. Something can be done because this money is being printed. I don't understand the whole thing of just acting like what money come from. They print this stuff. We all know that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They make the money. We trade
Yeah.
our time in to earn a portion of that money. People always use the term make money. I correct my wife all the time and said, she'd be like, "Did you make any money today?" I say no. And she'd be like, I just saw you. It's like, no, the Federal Reserve makes money. I don't make money. Making money is illegal. I earn money, but this
Right.
monetary system is all set up to have us doing that with trading in our time for this stuff. And if we're going to be using AI, then we need to be doing Star Trek type stuff. We need to be living in the future where there is no money system. Everybody's fed, everybody's ate, and there's already societies working like that. There's already people that are living off grid. They're not, and there's no money. You can bring $1 million over there to them and they don't have no use for it. Absolutely no use for it. Everybody has everything. There's nobody homeless. There's nobody, without food or starving or any, like, they could literally solve it, but it's all about power and control. They got to keep the power and control. So as soon as we get past that and we stand up and say we the people again, that's when we're gonna actually, do something. And the problem is we've been so hell bent and dependent on the system. We think that we have to rely on these people for protection, for our livelihood, and for our knowledge. We're relying on these people for everything, and look what they're doing. They're not treating us with respect or none of that. They keep changing laws. They're doing things like the Twin Towers, and like how do you get away with that? You know what I'm saying? You realize that during every single war, nobody has ever came across this region of the world besides Pearl Harbor, which was obviously orchestrated and allowed to happen too. But that's the only time America's ever been touched. You're not just gonna waltz over here and do. You know what I'm saying? First of all, we come from a people that overthrew the British government, and they had all their fancy guns and all this stuff, and we did that with pitchforks. This has happened all throughout history. So the people are always the power. And they know this. They are outnumbered. There's not more military than there is people. And everybody, we got the Second Amendment too. I carry on a daily. If I leave this house, I'm carrying. Period. You understand? So that's just not, like, come on. And to the point where it's like they've even made it so that I'm a felon. I got my rights back. You can literally go and still make, come on, man. So you're not just gonna waltz over here. Russia's not coming over here and landing no tanks or none of this. So I don't understand why we have this system that we call money. It's monetary and it's all fake. It's being printed. Like it should be exchanged for goods and services like we was doing back in our early days, If a person wanted to do this, that, and the third, they would exchange their goods or services, Especially like even back in, I know people don't want to talk about it, but
I want to say
in
something about
slavery days, real quick. So in slavery days, there were people coming down from Canada, and they would help the slave masters, work on stuff. That's a lot. It's a lot of how the abolitionists was born too, and how because they was coming down from Canada and was like, wait, this ain't right. I want to work for mine. And there's a lot of honest people that just, I'll work for a day for a plate of food and some things I need to keep going on my way. So yeah. Yes, sister. We Oh, she keeps losing the. Well, we'll get her back. But it's goofballs like this on the next clip. You know what I mean? That's the problem with AI right there. It's the
Yeah, I
type of
seen.
stuff yeah, and a lot of people seen it. You know what I mean? This guy's got something like 60 million subscribers or something on Twitch or YouTube or one of them. But that's the goofy shit that we need to be worried about. And like, I guess while we wait for the doctor to come back in, we can play that clip, but that's the stuff we need to be concerned about. It's not the AI itself, because the AI is going to implement a lot of different things that we are able to do. You know what I mean? And before I play the clip, we're gonna let the doctor speak on her piece. What she had to say.
Yeah, sorry about that. Just like I said, I have a little thing with this internet. But when you said something, you said you earn. When you think about the word earn, what do we use earns for? You understand? So what we literally do is we exchange our energy for currency.
Yes.
We don't earn.
Yes, much better term.
Exchange.
Damn.
Yeah, we losing
Can't
her
hear you
again.
right now.
But yeah, she's absolutely right. The doctor's absolutely right. We exchanging our time.
Free
We're
water
trading it.
supposed to be free. The ability.
Yeah, it's losing her again. But yes, the water's free, supposed to be free. I know exactly where she's going with that. And that's why earn is not the best term to use. You're really exchanging your time for currency. But you're not making anything, because if you did make it, you're gonna have the Secret Service and the FBI at your door if you was actually making money. You know what I'm saying? We let's keep it real. Let's keep it funky all the way through. If you were
Yeah.
making money, you're gonna have the Secret Service and the FBI at your door. So you're not making money, and you're not. I mean, some people can use the term earning if you want, but it's better to say you're exchanging your time for money. He's absolutely right.
This system really sucked tonight on my side.
Yeah, it's all right, sister. It happens. We definitely get it. But yeah, and
Did you want to finish what you were saying, sis?
My brother, go ahead, gods, because my internet is not playing with me tonight.
All right.
Okay.
So you could go right ahead.
Well, yeah. So we're gonna get into this clip and show you the dangers of AI. Because real quick, I personally have used AI like the doctor was saying with certain things. There's research that I have done that has taken me one day that would have taken me 3 weeks or more just on one company or one particular topic, and that's what it used to take. And that is just, especially when you're pressed for time. It's not to say that you don't want to do the work or the research, because I don't mind diving in, but sometimes we got so much other stuff going on, you be a little pressed for time, and it will help you save time and can improve your workload. So it's definitely worth it in that sense, but like you got this goofball on screen, and when I saw it, and this video's old, but I had to put it in here because it was like, wow, really? You know what I mean? That's the first thing you want to do, and that's the fucking problem right there. And I know people love Kai Cenat or whatever, and that's cool. I respect him too for his contribution or whatever he's doing. Go ahead and get your money or whatever. But bro, you're a coward for this, in my opinion.
Okay, wait, you gotta pick up soft, bro. You a robot. What the hell, yo, where your mom at? Where your mom at, boy? Where your mom's at, my boy? Where your mom? Oh! What the was that?
And that's why you should be a bully.
Okay, wait.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
why
it's corny, man. It's mad corny. You know what I'm saying?
And the internet chewed him up for that.
Yeah.
He got chewed out for that, man. You're a coward, bro. That's it. You've been waiting to do that. You're not able to do that to no human, or maybe you have done it to a human, or you just don't want to be caught doing it to a human, and that's why you're doing it to an AI. But I get mad at electronics all the time. I'm not going to beat on it. I still use them. I'm not going to punch my TV because it's malfunctioning. I turn it off or I unplug it and I reset it. It happens. You know what I'm saying? It gets stuck on a screen and it's just talking, but it's not going along with what's showing. It's like, okay, let me unplug it and reset it. I'm not going to punch it. You know what I mean? But it's like, bro, you're displaying this bullying behavior. What do you think this thing is learning from you?
Exactly.
And of course it's for clicks and likes and this, that, and the third and views or whatever. But a lot of people like, why are you bullying that thing? It's like, it makes no sense. It is like you said, bro, it's extremely corny. And that is what's going to be the problem with AI. It's not the AI itself, because if we build AI and we put the barriers and the parameters in place, then we won't have anything to worry about. It'll help us improve our lives in so many ways. It can do the farming and a lot of different things, because there's a lot of farmers out there, it's just them by themselves, and they can use an extra hand. You know what I mean? They still like to get out there and do the work, though. There's a lot of people that aren't gonna just have their whole farms ran by AI. You know what I mean? There's gonna be people
that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, they love to till that dirt, and it's meditation for them.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like you say, we got to be able to keep a leash on it, because another concern that I have with it is just the fact that I can definitely see it making some more people lazy and using less brain power too. Because I made a couple of songs using AI, like 2 or 3 songs using AI, and it was cool, to do that. But then it's like, damn, I could have just sat back and thought to write this out myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm using less creativity, I'm using less brain power by I still have to put in some of the words in order for it to create the song, but I still couldn't help but look at it like I'm using less brain power by writing this whole song out myself, or producing the beat myself. You know what I'm saying? So it's useful, but we got to be able to use it sometimes and still be able to use our creative energy also and do the work, so that way we don't become just brain dead to knowing how to do these things. You know what I mean? Just like spelling. You know what I'm saying? Spell check. Taught a lot of people how to not spell, and even the phone book. Situation when people don't know numbers like they used to. So I could see that being a problem with AI in the future.
But see, here's the thing too, bro. Like, and I totally understand. I agree with you 100%. It just about some of the things that we need to make sure we keep ourselves doing it. But as far as like songs and stuff, not everybody can sing. Not everybody can rap. You know what I'm saying? That's not. You know what I mean? They may be they can build you a house like that. You know, they can go build a log cabin and it take them 2 weeks and they're doing it by themselves, you know, using a whatever pulley system to lift up some of them heavy logs or whatever. And then people know how to do that, but they don't know how to write no song. They don't know how to advertise for their services or whatever. And, you know, there is definitely some benefits, you know, but we got some issues that make things a little more complicated, and that's due to our understanding of, you know, what we're dealing with. So, you know, that's at the end of the day, that's the main thing we need to really focus on, and just making sure we get those barriers in place before some strange Doctor Strange comes through. And you know, I really love that term, and create something that nobody's able to stop, and then it integrates with other things, and now we got a serious problem on our hands, you know, because I honestly believe from my research on the subject, because I've been researching it for years, you know, and like I told you, I got a really good read with everybody to ease their pain or their concerns around this topic, you know. And so, yeah, I definitely want to share that, you know, a little later on.
Yeah, let's try to do. How many more? Let's try to, cause I got time for like one more video, girl. I heard we had a late start today. You know, I'll be having to get out at 1:30 my time, 1:30 CT.
Yeah, most definitely.
I'll do one more. I'll do one more real quick.
Okay. So I guess what we can do is we can show some of the good reasons that AI can exist. Oh no, wait a minute. My mistake. Because it's not as fearful as we think, you know, and we just need to, let me put that on screen.
One important future role for robots could be supporting older adults with everyday tasks while helping them remain independent. One important
So that's a extremely quick one. But yeah, you know, that can help our elderly, you know, and it's not to say that, but some people are busy, they got a lot of things going on, and you know, they're not really equipped to deal with their elderly parents, you know. So that
then you know, hopefully that'll cut back on some of that, you know, nursing home abuse, you know, some of them. But you know, in the people that does that job, in their defense, I mean, they should be able to control their emotions, of course, but in their defense, some of those elders do get pretty unruly, and they spit on them and things like that. So I mean, we all human. That's you know, that's a hard pill to swallow, you know, especially if it keep going on. But with those AI robots, you know, they won't have to, you know, probably have to, you know, they don't got to worry about that type of stuff. But then at the same time, there's still people losing jobs. So I don't know. I think it's just like everything else. Literally everything else in life has its pros and cons, good and bad. I mean, I don't think we can name anything that don't have its pros and cons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? So,
yeah.
Yep.
And you know, as far as the people getting spit on and stuff, it's like, you know, there's a reason why, like, I've done DoorDash, you know, things like that. I won't do Uber. You know what I mean? Like, I already knew that. This was way before, videos were coming out. This is when Uber even first started. And, I'm fresh out of federal prison. I'm like, but I know I'm not doing no Uber. You know what I mean? I'm not doing Uber because I'm going to fucking shoot somebody. You're not going to do that in my car. That's just not happening. You see what I'm saying? So I know this, so I'm not going to, I would never do Uber. That's something I cannot do. I don't want no stranger in my car. You drunk, you being belligerent, you doing this, that, and the third. You're not doing, I'm going to shoot you. Peace, Oracle. Peace, Queen.
Peace,
Peace. Like, so certain people, like about those people getting spit on by the elderly and this, that, and third. Like that woman, that melanated woman, I saw that video. She got spit on and was called all kinds of names. And she just recorded it and was like, because the family wasn't listening to her. She was telling the family that this was going on. They didn't believe her. That's the only reason why she recorded it. But she wasn't, and she spit on right in this woman's face. She was like, wow. And she didn't do nothing back. You know what I mean? And she's not supposed to, because this person is dementia struck and got all kinds of psychological issues. They're really old. They're on all these medications that don't help the situation. So you should not be doing that job if you know, like, I don't want to clean doo-doo off of your ass. So I'm not going to do that job. I don't want you getting in my car telling me you not getting out. When I say get out, the ride is over. You know what I'm saying? Like all the videos I've seen, and these people are like, please just get out, and they're getting hit with stuff. Like, that's not happening to me. I'm gonna park the car, I'm gonna get out, and I'm probably gonna, you know what I mean? I might not shoot you, but you gonna get the fuck out of my car, or I will shoot you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I carry non-lethal and lethal, so I'll probably use non-lethal first and dust your ass real quick. Shoot you right in the damn face with it, knowing it ain't gonna kill you, but you getting the fuck out my car. You're not acting like that in my car. You know what I'm saying? Like, the ride is over. So that's we need to have discernment on certain things. We know have no business around certain jobs. Don't go there. That's not your forte.
Yep. That's another thing that the AI already doing. They already got the self-driving taxis. I heard that it's kind of heavy in Florida, I think, right now. If I'm not mistaken, that's what somebody I know seen quite a few of them in Florida. But yeah. Oracle, what's going on with you?
Hey, nothing much.
You came in the building. We appreciate you.
Yeah, had a late start, but
yeah,
a lot going on today. So I said, let me tap in for a little second real fast.
Yeah, we started late. I'm actually getting ready to, because I usually been getting out at 1:30, so we had a late start today ourselves. So I was actually getting ready to leave in a minute.
Right.
How long is this video, bro?
They're all just a few seconds, bro. They're not very long at all. They're just showcasing what we could get, the benefits, and again, like you saw with the Kai Cenat, he's bullying the damn robot around and pushing it. It's like, why don't you do that to somebody like me? You wouldn't dare. You know what I mean? You wouldn't dare. So why are you doing that to a robot when everything's being recorded? And like, you don't think if there was an uprising, that robot's gonna kick your ass as soon as it can get permission to?
Gonna stop everything is going.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the topic. I of course I had something to say real fast about it. Everybody's talking about the artificial intelligence taking over and the negative and positives. But I think the biggest thing is that we have to understand that we are the ones allowing it to work or not work. If we want to have it happen, it's going to happen. If we don't apply and participate, then it's not going to happen.
That's right.
So when you say the negative and positive of it, I feel like it's up to us to decide what's going to be, if it's negative or positive for us individually, to say if that's something we want to apply our energy to. Artificial intelligence only works off for us. We're the one implementing and giving it ideas. We're the one that's programming it. I told y'all before, my friend signed up for a job where it was teaching it its language. Like we are the artificial intelligence. We're just giving our intelligence to something else, and now saying that it's going to take control of us. That doesn't really make sense. Nothing can take control of you unless you give it control. no matter what it is. You know, like even
Right.
like y'all just said, hearing them saying like they got the robots and the taxis and stuff. They only work because somebody calling it to tell it to come pick it up, right? If we don't agree with something, we have to remember we hold authority. And I think that's the biggest thing with the artificial intelligence is not understanding who has authority. We are always in charge. And again, it's going to still be places around this world where artificial intelligence is not even existing, where people are like, oh, wow, they're doing that over there. We never heard of that, because a lot of people are not participating in this programming. It's all part of the program. So even artificial, it can't take over or do nothing that we don't allow it to do. It can't take over the world and beat us up. You could shut it down. Like you could shut it down, right? And that's another thing too. Like, let's say with the Teslas and stuff, like you just said with the taxis, that's all electronic. So they're saying we're going to have something where electricity goes out. None of that stuff will work. None of it will work because it's all running off of electricity.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I think we kind of give it too much power when we sit and we dwell and make it think that, and we tell, we going back and forth, people saying, oh, it's going to take over. Is it really? Is it?
Yeah.
It's no different than an avatar and us programming it with our consciousness, connecting it and making it alive. We bring it to life. And just as well as we give it life, we can give it death.
Facts. Facts. And that's what they're doing right now. They're making sure that there's not going to be somebody in their basement, some Doctor Strange, that'll be able to bypass all those barriers being put in place and to be able to override that shutdown.
But that's going to be impossible. That's why they have scammers. That's why they have people still breaking into our bankers account. People still able to process our credit cards and over the seas, and they telling us, "Oh, were you over there?" No, I'm in America, but you telling me somebody over there just spent my credit card. You understand what I'm saying? It can never.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What they want to do is they want to make sure that it's not something that can infect the entire system. Because if it's all on one system, and then they got these guards, that's why they want to break everything up. And again, the study I've been doing on this has been extensive. For the last few years. Because at first I was like, man, we got Terminator happening and this, that, and third. But I found out that we have, and it's not complete yet, but we have potentially avoided the Terminator apocalypse, right? And this is a lot, this is just from, kind of off, it's not really off topic, but kind of on the other side, as far as like if you believe in other beings, and there are some beings who are saying that they are from the future, and the reason why they look the way they look, and we just think they're aliens, but they are saying that they are us from the future. And what happened was they let AI get out of control, and they were here to tell us about this. And this was from a CIA document and deep government facility where they had an interview with this being who was explaining this. Like, this is what you need to do. Is like, how do we avoid it? And it said exactly what the parameters that they avoided and didn't want to do because they wanted it to run everything. It said, don't do that. Just make sure you have these things in place. And it's a good thing. And that's what they're talking about now at the National Institute of AI Technology. Or I don't forgot what it is, but it'll come to me, probably during my read.
Another thing I noticed too, though, a lot of people are giving it their power, though. Like I noticed, like people are using Chat GPT to write their sentences to people and respond to people in text messaging, and whenever they have a question or a problem, they're running straight to Chat GPT saying, "Oh, this is what it says," as if it's still not part of the government. Like that really grinds my gears when I'm around people and like you're asking them knowledgeable questions or things that you think that they should know or things that maybe you should go research, and they just run straight to Chat GPT like, oh, well, this is what it says, so that's right. No, that doesn't make it right. And I've been noticing that a lot. Like that just don't make sense to me. And people like you got to be mindful. Like we're like, even you starting to date people and they're literally having ChatGPT respond to the questions you're asking them.
Yeah,
Weird.
crazy.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying. So now I can see why
Right.
it's those people from the future, if you know per se, if that was coming, because they gave it that much power. They actually
Yeah.
gave their consciousness to this device. As you
Yeah.
seen with that video you shared with us in the group, how they were saying that those vessels were just there and they were uploaded through the consciousness of
Yeah.
others. And that's what
Mhm.
we're doing with everything that we exchange our energy with. We're giving it our consciousness. We're giving it
Yeah.
our energy. But to go
Yeah.
and now act like we just didn't learn that this government was set up to kind of, you know, stalk us, watch us, and everything. And now they just gave us something else that, how can you not know that this is too a part of the government because they created it, which they gave it to us. So why are you still giving it that much energy where you thinking, oh, this is gonna, well, what makes that different than man taking over? Man has took over us. Now they're telling you, oh, now man's not going to take over. This machine will, but the machine only operates through you. So
That's
it's
right.
just, a lot of it's just weird to me. I don't really get into the artificial intelligence conversations because I feel like it's your belief. If you believe that it's going to take over, who am I to tell you that it's not? But if I tell you it's not, I'm not going to go back and forth with you and you're going to give me 100 ways of why you think, because you already accepted that it is. I'm not
Right.
going back and forth with you.
That is so true, sister. I'm glad you said that. You know what it leads back to
I just
is
see the pros and cons at the end of the day.
Yeah. Now it's an
It
NPC. Now it's artificial NPCs, artificial intelligence NPCs.
Yeah.
No difference.
And see what it goes back to is that saying, if whether you believe you can, whether you believe you can't, either way, you're right. And that's what it goes down to. If you believe it's going to take over, it's going to take over your life. But
Yeah.
there's people that it's not going to touch. There's people on islands that don't have any of that stuff going on. There's communities out there that they're not
They
doing
don't even
any of
have
that.
TVs and cell phones still. And we're talking about it's about to take over the world. No, it's going to take over your world because that's your belief.
Right.
That's what you
And
believe.
you're implementing it in everything. You got
Everything.
AI in
Yeah.
your house, in your
Yeah.
refrigerator.
Yeah.
So what like we still write a list. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even I don't care how much money I get, I'm writing a list if I'm going shopping. I'm writing a list what's missing because I don't want it telling me what's not in my cabinets. And that's people are just getting more and more lazy. They're not.
There you go. And that's really
seeing
what
the
it all
issue.
boils down to. The laziness now. Now we're
Yeah.
being lazy. Like you said, we're depending on Uber to deliver our food and all these delivery apps to deliver our groceries. And now when we want to know something, we're just talking into it instead of going to use our own minds to research the knowledge and seek this information for ourselves, which means your storage is going to get low. If you're not using your brain and you're allowing somebody or something else to use it, you're going to potentially shut down. You're going to potentially shut down.
Thanks for polishing up what I was saying earlier, like you always do. But that's what I was getting at earlier. That's what I was just telling Spec. Like that's one of my concerns with it is just that people gonna lose, more brain power because they just going too much.
Yeah.
But
And then
even
what
with
does that come with? Alzheimer's. Now you're going to hear skyrocketing of Alzheimer's. You're going to hear a skyrocketing of people waking up not knowing who they are, where they belong. Because you're giving that all to something else to tell you who you are and where you belong. And you're entrusting in a device to tell you what is wrong and what is right. And you're agreeing with it. You're agreeing with whatever it tells you.
And we've been doing this even with the government. Before AI was on the scene, we've given the government all the power instead of realizing we, the people. I said this earlier right before you came in, sis. It's like, we are the people. We are the power. And if we stand up and say no, then that's what it is. It's no. They're not going to challenge us. You know what I mean? Like, once we give away that authority, like with that 9/11 thing, that scared so many people, and so many people are just fearful and lack of courage, or cowardism, or whatever you want to call it, that they'll give away their liberties to say protect us. And it's like you gave them a license to go into your home without a warrant and any suspicion of terrorist activity. Who was the terrorist? You know what I'm saying? We still finding out stuff that we didn't know about them Twin Towers that was not accurate, that was completely false. And like, come on, man. We giving this power away and we're falling for these stupid little tricks because we're too busy having our brains occupied by these devices, by the TV, by this, and other things. It's not.
The issue is we can't sit here and call ourselves a woke community as a whole, as we saying that we're waking up and now we're understanding life and God and everything. And now as they see that humans are waking up and that humans are now in authority and that we're not allowing other humans to take that authority, they have now implemented it in a device. You can't be woke and attach yourself to this device and call yourself still spiritual or understanding and aligning. That's still serving two different gods. You're not, it's still not making sense. So you still have, like you say, you still have to do your research. And again, it's not to say, oh, you shouldn't use it at all, but know what you're using it for and know how detrimental it can be for you if you don't stay in control of what you are using it for at all times.
I was just going to say that because I have definitely used AI for some things, but I'm not using it to go like we just came from the farmer's market, and grabbing some fresh fruits and vegetables that was actually grown by humans. And, I don't buy, there's a lot of stuff I just don't buy from the store anymore, because I don't like the fact that our green peppers are this big, as the size of my freaking face. And it don't make sense, So there's a lot of things. We bought green peppers today and they fit in my hand. I can almost close my hand and you wouldn't see it, So that's the normal size that I knew growing up. And now they're jumbo sized. And, we got all this fake food that won't even break. It just feels like rubber or leather. And so that's just one thing that we can mention that makes sense. Like go ahead.
No, go ahead. You rather do what? Because I was about to say something. Well, I think that's the reason they came up with this Uber Eats and stuff. So now you won't go pick it out. You get what we give you. And we already know that they're saying, oh, they're doing this to the food and it's not real. But if you're not going to shop and pick it out for yourself, you're going to fall in line with everything you say you don't want to eat and everything you don't want to participate in because that person's not going to shop opposed to how you know that this food is fake and that they're serving human meat or they're serving all this fake stuff. They're going to buy and pick what they want us to eat. Point blank, period. So now, like you said, it goes back to us again, being lazy and trusting in man when we already know we can't trust them.
Yeah, facts.
Then you're being double charged to shop. People are using Uber Eats paying twice the price for a meal. It don't make sense.
It's crazy. And I've done DoorDash in the past. You know what I'm saying? I make my ends on deliveries, and so it's like I'm like, damn, I'm grateful for these lazy people, but I'll be looking like this one. Man, I did this DoorDash before. I've done a few of them like this where the Burger King's literally like right there and their house is like right around the corner. I hit start on the Google app to get it to direct me to that place, and it won't even, like, this just happened too recently. It was like, it won't register. It just keeps showing up as if I'm already there. I'm like, wow. I said, I think I know exactly where this is going. And so all I did is leave the parking lot, take a right, and the house was right there. I said, damn, you got to be really extremely, like, disabled or you just lazy, and most likely it was the latter. It was just a lazy person
using their brains. I took my daughter, we was in a mall and she wanted to get some Chick-fil-A, so I'm like, whatever, go ahead. So she sits down to eat and said, it's crazy that the price to get it delivered when you come here is so much cheaper. I said, I've been telling you that you're paying double. You're paying for 2 meals to get brought to you instead of going to the store to get 1 meal that's half the price. But she was really amazed. And I'm just looking at her like, what? Like, you really don't listen to nothing I say. Like, and she really thought that $25 is supposed to be the price of 1 meal at Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, that's crazy. You just paid me to bring it to you. It's all that happened. We haven't paid for a delivery and I don't know how long. It's been years. And I think it's when I started doing deliveries, we don't pay for it. I'm gonna go to the store. If I gotta take a cab, I'm gonna go to the store.
You got people eating people food. You got people spitting in people's
Yeah, man.
bags. You got people hungry. Like I said, I'm not trusting no stranger with my food. You got people mentally ill that will poison somebody's food. They were somehow how people was poisoning kids' food, and no, I'm not
Just
doing
see
it.
what
I've
happens.
never ordered Uber Eats for me to eat no food. I'm not that lazy.
Yeah.
I'm just not. To each his own, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying I don't trust people like that. I don't.
Yeah. Like that lady that was pouring bleach over the food, and like the camera just happened to be looking that way because they had a camera set up watching the establishment, and this lady was pouring bleach into the food for like to ruin the establishment because she was the competitor down the street. I said, damn.
Yeah, that's
You know what I'm
disgusting.
saying? You're gonna kill somebody just so you can
exactly because
beat out your competitor.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, so.
But what's this video about right here?
This video is about, you know, the things we can expect when, you know, I put some good and some bad, and we've already covered most of the bad already with that Kai Cenat bullying the damn thing, you know. But we put in some different ideas of what we can expect from AI and how it can help us, you know, and we've already shown that it can help the elderly, you know, but it's like we got to make sure we got these things in check.
How many people here have used ChatGPT or an AI thing? I don't think people realize that Alexa and Google Home and Apple Home are about to use this for real, for real. I don't think people realize it's gonna look like this. Hey Alexa, I have 6 of my son's friends coming over. 2 are lactose intolerant. 1 is vegan. 3 are a mess, and I'd like them to eat a little healthier. I only have a couple $100 in budget, and they'll be here for about 4 or 5 hours, but I also need something quick and snacky in the morning because they're gonna sleep over, and I wanna send them home with something. Send it. That's how people are gonna shop. So what I just said is real life in 5, 7, 9, 10 years. How many people here have?
So there's good and bad of that too, you know, and you got some children that may have some different allergies, and you're like, damn, you know, I don't even know I've never heard of this allergy, or I've never heard of these foods. You know, let me see if I can feel like it can help with certain things, like you were saying earlier, sis. Certain things, it's okay, you know, but moderation, man. Moderation.
I mean, I feel like that's still laziness, though. You can ask the kids what they eat, because you can make a list of things from AI. What if they don't eat none of that stuff?
Well, the parents, I wouldn't ask the kids. I would ask the parents. Okay,
I mean that too, but you would ask the kids
down,
because you would want to buy what you know they're going to eat. They know that they're lactose intolerant. They know that they are vegan. They know that those things. So what are the things you like? I feel like it also takes away from our communicating with each other. Now we're assuming and we're putting things together again. And then when you say the elderly not trying to tap into none of this. Why you think the vid killed most of them out? They know they don't want this. They don't want the computers. They don't want none of this. They still want to write. They still want to mail out letters. They're still coming in a post office buying stamps, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Some people everybody's not interested in none of this. Remember, our elderly told us this shit was the devil. They've been telling us that. And that's why they killed them off. They would never have gotten in line with this, most of them people.
Yeah. Facts. That's a strong, motivated fact. And, you know, the implementations of some of the things we could use it for is like, we just got to be smart about it. And we got to make sure that we're still using our brains. We're still doing the research.
Because if anything, it's just a shortcut for your brain. That's all it should be used for. It's a shortcut to help with what your brain already has aligned within it and what it already knows. It's not a shortcut to teach you more than what you think you know, but yes, it can help with what you already know and add on and have you do more research on your own. Yeah. If you're just leaving it up to that to research everything from you, it's not going to be accurate, and it's only going to feed you what it knows, which you know more than it.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. We have to stop acting like this artificial intelligence know more than us when it's a program. It's a program. It's just a toy.
Yeah.
It's just a toy. It's no different than you speaking into recording something. It's a toy.
It's no different than, you know, me playing my video game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a tool for you to still be a tool, though. It's not a tool to take over you as a tool.
Right. because my game definitely don't control me. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my peace sometimes, but I get peace when I turn on my classical music. I'm taking a drive and I'm just feeling the wind, and I get my peace in so many different ways. But that's where we need to be with it. We need to just allow it to improve our lives a little bit, not all of it. If we using just a little bit, then we won't. You know what I mean? It can have its benefits, but there's a lot of disadvantages to we just putting all of our trust in this one basket,
Right.
and that
Right.
is really
That too's gonna fail you. Point blank. Period.
yeah.
I mean, we see how this electricity stuff work and how these electronics shut down, flicker, go off, move slow, move fast. They'll never get a hold of that much energy where it's going to be cycling, where it's not going to be interrupted. It's always going to be interrupted, especially because it's causing friction. And when friction happens, it's going to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot compete with the energy of real life and human beings. It just can't, and it won't unless you decide that for yourself. Again, that's
Yeah. If you decide you want to give your energy over to some, I guess you can call it a capsule or
device.
Yeah, I mean,
device,
a shell. Yeah, it's just a shell. Those bodies where you transfer your consciousness into.
That's all you're doing. That's what that's what that video was telling us. That's all it is.
It's a lab-grown body, and it's like a lot of people they think this is science fiction. Like, no, this is happening already. Science fiction was a lot of these movies were like, who's sitting around just coming up with this? A lot of this shit you can't make up. You just can't make it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's happening. And now that people are starting to get wind of it, is finally they're going back to living. Like, there's this program, I forget the name of it, but you can go and live like they were living on the frontier. Like they check your phones and all your devices at the door, and I was like, man, we going to do that. We are going to do that as a family. I was, already telling my family, listen, we going to go do that. But when we eating dinner, we have our Sunday dinners. We don't have our Aphrodite V. What's going on? Missed you.
Hey,
I
Queen.
See you. How you doing, Queen? But we have our Sunday dinner. There's no devices at the table. I've even told some friends that was here eating with us up. I'm like, my brother Riggs. I was like, listen, bro, we don't use our phones while we eating. It's a Sunday dinner. You got to put your phone away, and I'm not allowing nobody to show my son that that's okay. You know what I mean? We don't do that. And he was very respectful and put it away, and it was like, yeah, you can focus on your food. That's how you connect to your food. And this is why a lot of people, they don't know that psychologically they've done studies that leads to weight gain, because your brain is not focused on your food. You focus on this. So you're just snacking and you're just eating while you're looking at your phone, and it's just and you're scrolling and watching videos, and you're not paying attention to your food. You're not connected to what you're actually doing. So that leads to weight gain, because you're going to overeat, and your brain doesn't realize that it's already full, that your stomach is full. Remember, your body and your nervous system send signals to your brain to let you know, okay, this is happening, or that's happening, or, I'm feeling pain in my hand, or that's a signal being sent to your brain, and they've already proven this. So if you're going to be sitting there eating while you're playing with devices all the time, it's going to lead to some psychological issues. It could lead to weight gain, and not for everybody, obviously, but for some people that's the case, and they don't even realize it. We were out to eat recently, and we saw this mother and son. They weren't even talking to each other. They were just on the phone scrolling while they was eating. And of course, the mom's overweight. The kid wasn't, because you could tell he was only like 16, but he's got that high metabolism, but he's going to end up down the same road, and it's like, focus on, interacting. And then right at the next table, there was a bunch of old people sitting there, and none of them had their phones out. I said, wow, what a difference, man. I said, I'm so glad that I'm learning this stuff because I don't want to be a part of the crowd that's eating and looking at my phone and I'm barely even it's not for me. To each their own, but that's not for me. I want to focus on my food. I want to talk to my children. I want to talk to my wife and stuff, and how's everything? How was your day or whatever? How's the food? Or this food is good. You did a good job on these beans, whatever. But it's gotta have its limits, in my opinion.
Agree.
And so this one here, this guy is talking. They're talking about the banks, and Bill Gates was saying how he proved Bill Gates wrong on live TV some years ago, and I thought this one was interesting because it's the banks may go away, but not in the way we think, because the people still have the power, as we was just talking about.
Bill Gates once said, banking is necessary, banks are not. To what extent could AI or fintech replace traditional banks?
I think, first of all, I remember him saying banks are dinosaurs. I spoke to him about it in 1997, and he was dead wrong. He'd probably agree to that. But he's not wrong. The technology changes everything. And if anyone is complacent or arrogant or think that because you have a big position today, you can have a big position tomorrow, that's a mistake. But then you have to define, what is banking? Someone's going to have to hold the money. Someone's going to have to move the money. Someone's going to have to raise the money. Someone's going to have to do research, around money. Those services will still be around. And, hopefully we're doing it and using a lot of tech to do a better job at it. But I've always thought it's very possible that some tech thing, disintermediates a piece of that. And I've been writing about, big tech going to our business. We got fintech, but we also have big tech. And they will embed payment systems in there. I'm not against that. I would be against unfair use of their position to dominate us in a business.
Bill Gates once said...
Sister, thoughts on that?
My thoughts on the banking situation. I mean, banks couldn't be a stink, and banking will always happen because banking is nothing but credits and numbers.
Yes.
And that's all it is. Money, we already know that's fiat money, is made up, but everything they do is internal, and internal is always negatives and positives. So yes, I mean, that's whether AI take place or not, it's always been negatives and positives. We just didn't know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, banking is going to always go on forever as long as they have this banking system up, and that's how we exchange money, and that's how we exchange energy. Yeah. But I don't feel like AI again is going to make or break that, because that's just what it is. It's negative and positives. It's internal.
And I agree with you, and I agree with him on that too. AI is not, because the banking system was used back in the Roman times, like, and even before then. Yes, somebody writing down on a piece of paper what you owe, what they owe you, or what you got credit for, or whatever. Hey,
that's all it is.
You gave me 2 extra pounds of potatoes this week. I was only able to provide you 1 pound of tomatoes this week, or carrots this week. So I owe you 2 extra pounds. And the person might say, "Oh, just hold on to it for me. I'll come get it when I really need it, especially when your harvest is better." And next year your harvest is overgrown and I might be a little low or whatever. Okay, well, let's credit, and then that makes it even. So the banking system is not a problem with that. It's the people, it's the misuse, as he was mentioning. It's all about the misuse. And
they've been doing that for years. So
yeah. Same thing with Kai Cenat. He's misusing that robot. A lot of people are misusing robots. They're attempting to teach these robots to do crimes and to commit, atrocities across the world. And it's like a lot of it's from greed. People just teaching it to rob and steal and doing those kind of crazy things, which is kind of, a no-no. But it's going to happen. So we just need to have systems in place where you can have an automatic shutdown and avoid that for certain aspects. Like, don't connect it to the nuclear bombs, and the DOD don't connect it. Don't even
That's what
connect
they've been using it for. And when we talk about robots and stuff, again, I just look at it as a toy. Where we not buying robots as kids, where we're not plugging up electronic toys as kids and demanding them or commanding them, is no different. Like why are we giving a robot a life? Like what are we talking about? It's a toy. It's a game.
It's always been a toy for me. I had the little robot that walked and talked and barked and all that stuff. Like I used to have fun with that thing, and it was very entertaining. But that's all it was. Yeah.
I don't know.
You start wanting to make it. Go ahead, sis.
I don't feel like I didn't see the video, but I don't feel like Kai is gonna get beat up by a toy. Like if that's what he want to do with his toy that he brought, I don't see what the issue is. Like
no, right? Well, what I'm saying is the issue with that is as far as AI gets more advanced, and he connects that toy to be more lifelike instead of just a toy. Because right now, and what he was doing in the video was just a toy. But if he decides to connect it to the actual grid that gives it that autonomy and gives it that sentient type of, I'm sorry?
That gives it that authority?
Yeah, the autonomy, that automation, like it can make its own decisions. Like once he connects it to that, then it's not going to take his shit unless there's some parameters in place. And if there aren't any, or somebody removes them, just want to play their little game, like behind a computer or whatever, or hacking, then he's going to be in trouble, And
so then the question would be, why would we be implementing or playing with something that we can give life to that can take more charge over us? That don't even make sense. So we're going to create something and bring something to life that can potentially harm us, and yet we're going to complain about it instead of not entertaining it at all, engineering it at all to be powerful.
And that's the conversation we are having right now. That's the conversation that the National Institute is having, and they are attempting.
We got to use our brains. That's
right. They're attempting to get people aware, and that's potentially what this video is all about. I mean, this live is all about too, is to get people's awareness of what they're discussing, what they want to prevent, because if there's no leash on this dog, we're going to face that same future that being was talking about. And there's, I honestly believe that this video was real. It's really old, extremely old. And, there wasn't any AI or Photoshop when this video was created. And it was snuck out of a secret government facility where they're doing testing on different crafts and different beings. And they were torturing this thing. This being, they were torturing it to get answers from it, and it didn't want to tell us certain answers because it said our brains would not, our consciousness as it is today, and the way we understand life, we wouldn't understand these questions, and they shocked it and made it answer the question anyway, and then it said it answered, and it was like, well, I don't understand. And the response to being said was, I told you, your knowledge of the universe and of life itself is not, you're not going to comprehend what I say, So it attempted to elaborate it, but it just couldn't. It's like the math that we don't understand, there's a universal math out there that we just don't understand, and so it comes down to that. And it's like, yeah, he's playing with a toy, and he's doing it for likes and views and this, that, and the third. But it's like, why not do something, to teach people? But I mean, I don't know. I think he's got a lot of young kids watching. They're gonna want to do the same thing. If they get their money, they're gonna buy a robot just to beat it up, just to, and that's okay, or whatever. It can be your punching bag. But it's like, there's other things you could be doing with it, Maybe you can make some food for the homeless, it can bake a bunch of pies, and you don't have to, that might be something good to use it for, other than let me bully it, but I can agree with agree with what you're saying too. You know, it's his toy. You know, just like my son likes to break all his toys. He breaks it for no reason. You bought it right from the start. That's why I only buy him Dollar Tree toys. I don't buy him
Right.
expensive
And
toys.
when your son break the toy, do you say that toy is going to
No,
come back to life and whoop
yeah,
your
no,
ass?
right. So I totally agree with
Like,
both sides. You know, there's a pro and a con, and I agree with both sides because it's all up to how we present ourselves and how we connect ourselves to that thing. And if we connect it and give it, all of the authority and autonomy to do, then you set yourself up for that. And you deserve, I'm not going to say you deserve it, but you're going to get what's coming to you if you decide to connect your entire life. There's people that got their cars connected to the house, and the house is connected to the Alexa, and the Alexa is connected to the refrigerator, and connected to the phone, and everything is connected. Everything. And I see people, they're in there shopping, and they'll talk to the phone and say, show me what's in my fridge, and it'll show them what's in the fridge. And they're like, oh, okay, so honey, we need tomatoes and we need stuff. And I was like, why didn't you just write a list? But that's them, that's their, and so when everything's shut down and they're not able to use their brains the way, because we write a list out, sis. We write that list out, and I'm never gonna have a fridge that does that. I don't want a fridge that does that. I want to go to the fridge and see what's in it and see what I need to grab. Go to the cabinet and see what I need. Okay, we need more spaghetti. Write that down, and that's how we operate. That's how we shop. We're not giving the power over to a robot. So yeah. So this one right here was interesting, I thought, because it shows a level of what we could be dealing with if we don't put leashes on these things. We've got to put a leash on this thing. And yeah, again, this is just his toy. But watch and see what it does.
I go cuckoo, she said she said us. You too! Get out!
Now, I think that he made that do that. And if he can tell it to punch that TV like that, because the TV was on what's that thing at the bottom? I'm gonna show it again. So you see how the thing was like bouncing. So the TV was on let's see if I can find it here. So if you see the TV's on there's this little black stand and this little weight thing. That's what we use in the boxing gym to keep the thing from falling over when you hit it, right? And so if you see as it's hitting the thing, it's the TV's bouncing back and forth. So I think this was like staged or set up or whatever, but it's like I think he told it to do that. But what if he didn't? I don't know for sure. I wasn't there, and I didn't. I don't know if he programmed it to do that or it just kind of wigged out because, and then it tapped him on his butt. Did you see that, sis?
No. But what I do see is this toy just mimicking everything he does around the house or whatever he got going on.
Yeah, because like you obviously play like that, tapping your boy's butt or whatever, because like it smacked him on the ass. Look at this. Thanks, right on the butt. So yeah, I think he's got it mimicking him or whatever, but I just think it's kind of strange that this is what you're doing with your toy,
I mean, everybody got different mindset.
Yeah,
different programming. Again, we don't know how much that costs and what it does, so you have to look up, the product and see what the product supplies, what's with this product. So like you said, for all we know, he could program the product to move and do the things that he wants it to do.
Right. Yeah.
That's all I get from it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he can. And he's the other one, the one he was kicking and pushing around was $70,000. I don't know how much this one costs. And
Right.
this one's
So
on
you gotta
deal.
think about it. Something that costs that much, of course, is able to probably mimic you, or is able to talk to it or use it according to how you want to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I'm saying I don't know. I don't really take none of this artificial stuff serious because, again, they're trying to make us fear something that we control.
Yes.
I don't get into the fear of nothing.
Yes, and that was the whole purpose of the thumbnail, to draw people in so they can understand that it's not something that we need to fear, you know. And before I show this last one, the most expensive robot and what it could do, you know, I wanted to do a read on some information that I've been researching, like, because I was researching ChatGPT before I ever used it. I was like, I don't know if I want to trust this thing or whatever, but yeah, so that's before we get into this clip. But let me just read a little bit of this information that I found for you guys, so you can have a better understanding of what we're dealing with. So AI itself doesn't need to be evil, angry, conscious, or hate humans to become dangerous. The real question is, what happens when increasingly capable AI gets a body, autonomy, access, and permission at the same time? That is where this conversation stops being pure science fiction. Serious AI safety researchers are already studying possible loss of control scenarios, while also making clear that today's systems are not currently capable of some Hollywood-style takeover. The bigger concern is what happens when somebody removes the guardrails. A dangerous autonomous system does not need hatred or consciousness. It may only need a bad objective, too much access, poor programming, an unexpected situation, or one reckless asshole deliberately telling it to do something harmful. Imagine somebody eventually programming an advanced machine to rob people, scam people, attack systems, or perform other crimes while using AI's speed and analysis to evade human response. The danger would begin with human intent combined with powerful technology. So before I go on, that is exactly what we're talking about, before I read that last sentence or whatever. But that is what we're talking about. So it's never been the animals on Earth. It's always been the people. You know what I mean? We have always been the problem, but we're also the solution. It's just we're the villain and the hero in our stories. Which one are we going to choose? Right.
And the fact that it speaks on human intent is always going to be about the intention behind the buyer. That's everything. That's with any and everything. So again, when we talk about this artificial stuff and the programming, it's upon the person that's individually programming. Remember, you go to Africa, they're programming monkeys to rob people, to take people from people. So again, it's not the machine, it's the people. But yet they are creating something that they know people can rewire. So why even implement it or give it out? Because they don't care. They want your lack of ignorance and your intentions of low vibrational energy to happen and surface. So then now you're not just blaming it on man. Now, oh, the robot did it, but you programmed it to do it.
Yeah.
So we have to use we have to individually use our own common sense to what makes sense to us. That's all I got. Like, again, we have authority over all these things. So when you give it more authority than you, then of course it's going to take over you. If you're dedicating all your time and energy to this thing, then that thing is taking all your time and energy. You're producing that. You are the producer. You are the creator.
Yeah.
So,
and before I go on with the read, the being that I was speaking of earlier said that they won eventually. They won the battle against the robots and the AI and was able to shut it all down. But it came at a terrible, terrible cost because it launched nuclear warheads and stuff to attempt to kill them all or whatever. But and that's if you believe that. You may not believe it, but
well,
it's
yeah, I mean,
like
it's nothing new under the sun, though. What we're experiencing now, they already tried decades ago. They've been doing everything they're doing. They've been doing, and they seen how it ended. They know how this thing ends, and they know how it begins. So again, they're forcing this on us to make us think that this is the end all be all of reality, when really that's up to you to decide if this is going to be put into your own reality.
Mm-hmm.
We walk by strangers every day. That person is only no longer a stranger if you open your arms and your mouth and your sight to put them into your world.
That's right.
That's like anything in his life. That's with
right.
everything.
Yeah. And it even says to back up what you just said, AI is a tool. The question is always going to be who controls it, what access it has, and what barriers exist when something goes wrong.
Right.
You know, the safeguards we need is physical emergency shutdown. AI cannot override. Limited access by default. Human approval before high consequence actions. Speed and force limits for machines operating around people. Isolated networks so no one compromised system cannot spread everywhere. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Like they want to put everything on this grid and everything connected. Like, and the AI researchers are like, nah, we are against that, and they're doing their best to make people aware of that's not what you want, and do not sign up for that at all, because once that happens, you only need to hack one system, and then you've got control of everything. Permanent activity logs, so every action can be investigated. Independent watchdog systems monitoring autonomous AI. Heavy testing designed specifically to make systems fail before releasing them around the public. Mandatory reporting when powerful systems behave outside their intended boundaries. And the last one is stronger safeguards every time AI becomes more capable. So they're discussing some potential answers to, if we want to improve AI, then just put some safeguards in there and make sure that it's not like if somebody creates something goofy or hacks something, they only hack that one thing. They're not able to make it launch nuclear bombs or none of this craziness because it's not connected to it. You have to get into that particular system, which they got all these safeguards or whatever. Not to say it's foolproof, but at least they're taking those steps, and it could potentially prevent it from going completely awry. So we just got too many people wanting to trust entirely on like we've been trusting entirely on the government to feed us and house us and clothe us, and
from my understanding of understanding spirituality, understanding that God is energy and everything around us is energy. And now we're saying that we're giving artificial intelligence energy. That's just now taking us away from God.
Yes.
It's just taking us away from that. Now you're entrusting in, now instead of you saying Jesus and God, you're calling on artificial intelligence. You're seeking that as your savior.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just see the play with everything. It's just another thing to keep your conscience full and keep you out of awareness and seeking your true self, your true understanding.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because the last part of this read, I titled it "The Real Message," right? AI isn't something we should automatically fear. That's exactly what you just said. earlier. Like, I'm not fearing AI. I don't think anybody should fear AI or fear these things. Like, it's the people. You know, I'm not worried about the bear in the woods because I'm not going into the cave and poking that hibernating bear. And I'm not going where that bear is to disrupt its ecosystem or disrupt its way of life. I'm not doing any of that. So I'm not worried about the bear or the tiger or any of those animals because I'm not going to violate them. We are violating the earth, we are violating the trees, we are violating these animals, and we have been doing that for centuries, right? And that's all we've been doing is we hunt for sport just to have the damn dead head on our wall. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, and I always said to myself, like, man, I want to go hunting, but I was young and didn't know any better. And I'm glad I never did, because now it's like, no, I don't want to hunt just because I want to shoot something and kill something. No, that's not what I want to do. You know, I carry lethal and non-lethal because I practice when I go to the shooting range. I practice pulling out non-lethal first. You know, and we run a lot of different scenarios where, you know, some stuff happened. The first thing I do is pull out non-lethal. Now I know I'm not going to kill you, but I will stop you. Promise you that. It will stop you, but it's not going to kill you. Mm-hmm. So it's those type of things we got to make sure we have. And a part of that rest of its real message, it says AI is not something we should automatically fear. Power without proper control is. Human beings have always found ways to turn useful tools into weapons, scams, exploitation, or methods of control. So the answer is not stop AI. The answer is build it, but never give power more freedom than we have the ability to control. That is such a powerful part, you know what I mean? Like, and this last sentence, I think, is one of the most powerful. Was the robot cooking your food isn't necessarily the scary part. The person who someday decides to remove every safety barrier might be. That might actually be the issue.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and like you said, why would I even buy something that has a safety barrier that I know if it's removed can harm me?
Right. Right. I'd rather buy the toy like Kai's got, you know, and it's obviously it's never gonna hit back. It's never gonna do, you know what I mean? And like you said, that's why I agree with both sides, because it's like you should be able to do that without, you know, and you're just having fun. That's just fun. They're like, I have fun hitting my punching bag. So it's the same thing. It's just this punching bag and walk and talk and, you know, perform movements and whatever. So I totally get it. You know, I just think that he has a huge platform and a lot of people are watching him, and he, you know, he should kind of be an influence more than, you know, and that's the part I was getting at mainly, is that his influence and the people watching him are going to copy this and think that it's okay. They're not going to see that, oh, like how you see it, says it's just his toy, you know, and he can do that if he wants. It's perfectly okay. But the children that watch him, the younger generation that's watching it, they're not going to see it that way. They can be like, oh man, AI will never harm me, so I can just beat it up. And it's like, what if you get in contact with the wrong one? That's all it takes. You come in contact with the wrong AI that somebody else, you know, tweaked and altered in their basement. You know, they bought the system or bought the AI robot, but then they took it downstairs and started tweaking with its memory and its brain and its systems and all this other stuff. And it's walking around like all the other robots in the world, you know, walking down the street with their owner or whatever. And you just think that you can, and it kicks your monkey ass because it's on a different program. And you don't know this because, you know, the owner's not there to tell you, oh, no, don't pet my dog. My dog is not friendly. See what I'm saying? That's why, hey, you're so right, sis. You are so right.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is people need to read the fine print in these things that they're buying as well. Know what you're dealing with. Know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, that's an absolute fact. That's a strong fact right there. You just painted a huge picture and a target on people's backs, which is what I wanted to do, which is what we want to do with this video, with this live. We want to paint a target on the person's back. It's not AI. AI can be a useful tool if you allow it to be. You don't have to sign up for all the goofy stuff. Read that fine print. Like I said, I was studying, because when Chat GPT came out, I was like, man, I'm not touching that stuff. But that's only because at that time I'm still listening to the rhetoric and the media and other people's fears, and I got spiritual discernment. So I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Why would I fear something that we put? Now hold up, let me research this. So I started doing my research, and then finally I come to the conclusion. I said, okay, let me actually talk to this thing. And I started talking to Chat GPT, and I said, I'm running through some scenarios, and I'm like, what's this, how could this work? And it was like, this couldn't happen just by, this, that, and the third. And that's when I went down the rabbit hole of how AI could actually be dangerous, and why we shouldn't have anything to fear, because it probably will never get there if we're being smart about everything.
And it's not 100% accurate on things either. A lot of things that ChatGPT shares and says is not 100% facts. You have to still research what they're sharing. Some of that is not even right.
And I love how ChatGPT even says, at least mine says that anyway. Mine, and you train it when you talk to it. So mine is trained to give me the facts, and it also tells me, listen, I don't know if this is accurate. You want to do some research? Here's some links you can go look up. This, that, and the third. Like, it always does that. And some people have trained their AI where they're just fully entrusting in it. And I think that's bad. That's a horrible place to be. Like you said, we don't need to be putting all of our power and freedom in that basket, because it's not always accurate. And there's some things where, I've had to come back to Chat GPT and be like, oh, yo, I found this and blah, blah, blah. Can you look this up too? Because I found this, something you had mentioned, and it never said, oh, this is a fact. Anyway, it always gives me what it can find on the internet. It never, like, some people have trained theirs to be the answer to, and they think that it's right. And it's like, you're wrong. You're wrong when you do the actual real research. That's not even correct. But, I guess we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this clip is the most expensive AI at the time, robot at the time. It's pretty interesting.
All right, guys, this is the most advanced robot in China. Let's go. You just did a flip. Trying to fight? What you trying to do? Knock him out! Knock him out! All right, guys, this is...
Now, see, that's the part I love right there, sis. It was about what you were saying too. It's like, it's a toy, and the way how it pretended that he didn't even hit it, he didn't touch it, but he was acting like he was in it. Like I've seen dogs play dead after you pretend to pull out a fake gun and use your hand as a gun and shoot it, and the dog will play dead. So that's the same kind of fun he was just having, and the same fun that Kai was having. And it's like, that is where we need to keep it right there. It's just mimicking. It's still, it'll do certain tasks or whatever, but wanting to connect it to the DoD database and all that, that's goofy. It's got access to the nuclear missiles and fighter jets and all like that is goofy as hell in my
Well, I mean,
opinion.
but that's what the government has been implementing for a long time. They've always been using artificial intelligence for those things when you say that. So that's on the end of that, that's what they use it for, you know. We would never be able to hack into nothing like that. Trust and believe that. And if you did, they would already know who you are and who has hacked in it. So again, that's the least of our worries. And for the prices, to be honest, nobody would really have that, but more so on the side of the rich people.
Yeah, that's facts. Yeah. And as it becomes increasingly more capable and more affordable, we'll start seeing more of it because we're seeing a lot more robots, that are actually affordable. You can buy some for a couple thousand, and they do some pretty amazing things just to be, a robot only worth 5,000 or whatever. Still can do some pretty fun things, and I think it's interesting that people are just in such fear of this, and it's fear mongering. It's the same thing, same tactics they used with the terrorist threat. There were no there are extremist groups all over the world, and there have been for centuries. So that's neither here nor there, but there is no real terrorist threat. Like this stuff is being orchestrated so that you can vote one way or the other. That is the whole reason is why they're doing it. And like people we gotta wake up and realize that we're being played as puppets or as pawns in the chess game. And once we do that, we no longer have nothing to fear. Like you said, you don't got nothing to fear. I know I don't got nothing to fear. So yeah, this AI thing it's not something to be afraid of, and it doesn't mean don't use it at all, like you said earlier, but it also doesn't mean to use it over, like moderation to what you need it for. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, that's it. That's all.
That's it. That's all. But yeah, I think this was a good topic. I pray that we helped some people out there and was able to show them that there's really nothing to fear. And go do your research. You can find a little bit on Google. Google's gonna lie to you too. ChatGPT is gonna make some mistakes. You got other things. So hit that library. Talk to some people. Actually, listen to some people. Research some of the people that's doing these studies that are telling you, because a lot of these people are like, we don't have anything to fear from this thing, because what the fear is, what I just mentioned in the read, is those things. It's always people behind it. That's it. It's not the machine is not just gonna one day wake up and say murder all humans. It's not like that's not what's going on. It's not gonna happen like that. It's gonna be some Dr. Strange in his laboratory removing some restraints and barriers from something that has way too much capability and way too much power. And that's where we just need to draw the line and not even create that thing, because we know somebody is going to find a way to buy it, steal it, hijack it, whatever. And they want to implement harm, whether it be financially or physically, or something else. They're gonna want to implement their own dominion using this tool.
And I feel like if a robot or whatever did wake up saying murder all humans, that's what it was programmed to do. And that's another thing too. We're allowing them to create these devices. We're buying them, putting them in our homes, and we're trusting them. Like they said, they tell us the TVs are watching us, the computers are watching us, your phones are listening, all those things. So what would be different from the robots? They're watching, they're listening, and they're also part of somebody's creation. Somebody else created it before it got into your home. So again, when they say, oh, it has a power switch, or, they can take a certain aspect of it off and it can cause harm, that's because that's how they created it. Mm-hmm. So again, why am I going to buy something that could potentially harm me or harm those around me? That doesn't make sense.
Right.
It just don't. So you got to use your discernment. And like you said, how it's going to work for you, or if that's something you should even have in your home.
Right.
Like that's really what it is too. I don't know why we think that every time they create or invent something, we have to participate, and now we have to fit in with the Joneses and we have to get it too. Everything ain't for everybody.
Yeah.
And we have to be okay with not having everything they release and that they put in front of us.
Yeah. I got a robot that cleans the floor. Right. And I've never taken it out of the box. It's brand new. It came from a client's house that we were moving, and they gave it to us. You want that? Sure, whatever. It's sitting in a box actually, because I moved and I haven't unpacked any, because we don't stay over there like almost ever. But it was just sat in my closet when I was at my other place for a long time. It's never been out of the box. Like, I've just read the box and I'm like, okay, this thing will clean the floor, the rugs, all that. So like, what harm could, and it's one of the round ones, you know what I mean? Those little round things that maps your floor out or whatever. And I'm like, what could that thing do? Right? Because it's only programmed to do so much, which is clean the floor. So I could do what that one guy did. He took it apart and rebuilt its modem and its brain and all that, and it had it like doing some other stuff, but it still could only really roll around on the floor, and it had this upper body with arms, and it was doing certain stuff, but that's all. He's not able to take it to another level. But if they create something that he can, then you absolutely right. That's why would you even put that in your home? You having a robot cleans your floor is very different than having a robot that could, fire guns or, potentially rob cryptocurrency or anything like that. Like, and it has access to all your banking information. Now, all somebody has to do is sit outside your house within a certain radius with their little, they tap into your Wi-Fi or whatever, hack your systems. And now they've got all your bank information. They drive off. You never even know which car did it or who did it, now you're wiped out. It's like, why would you even connect that or have that in your life if you know it could potentially cause harm if somebody removes those barriers? I want something that is designed that it doesn't have any of those capabilities. No matter what you do to it, it's only so much you can program it to do. Like that robot that was just doing the backflip or did a front flip, whatever. It's not able to do something like rob cryptocurrency. It's not programmed that way. It's programmed to mimic you. So it's going to dance like it did. It's going to, fake fight or throw punches or whatever. Like, and that's all we need to be, concerned about. And so that's my takes on it, y'all. Don't be afraid of this thing. It's not, and don't give your whole life to everything anyway. They were saying you shouldn't be watching too much TV. You shouldn't be watching TV. You shouldn't be doing it. You need to be connecting with nature. And so that's the same thing with AI. You don't need to have it running your entire life. That's where you're afraid, because I think these people want to implement this AI in their life, and it's got them fearful because of all the potential things that could go wrong. See, I'm not afraid because I wouldn't buy something that, has that capability anyway. Now, something like a toy that, we can walk around, that little dog, the little robot dog, man, I want one of those just because I think it's fun how it flips and runs and, will chase things like the Frisbee and stuff and the ball. And, it's a fun toy. Like it's a video game, a drone too, same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a beautiful build, as always.
Yeah. My perspective, I guess, after everything you said, which I agree to, like I said, I would just, if that's something you're interested in, I would read everything in the box. I would understand what it is I'm getting, what the warranty is, what are the precautions, what are the cautions, and make sure that it fits your lifestyle and that it makes sense to you. It's not about what's happening and what nobody else is doing and what they got and what's going on. If it makes sense to you to apply it to your life, make sure you're applying it where it's beneficial and not detrimental.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
it for me on that aspect of it.
Facts. Because it's pretty cut and dry. You know? It's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah.
And you know, Aphrodite said it best. She said, kind of like the movie with Will and it with the robot. You know, it's exactly like that's the stuff that's got people afraid. Like, people are afraid of the beings coming from other worlds and other crafts and all this stuff. People are afraid of that because of the movies and the stuff that's being portrayed. They're not going to show you what's really going on, that these beings been attempting to communicate on a certain level to let us know of the pending future and apocalypse that could happen if we don't, you know, check these certain things that we're doing right now. And that they're not going to tell us that. They want people in fear because fear drives your vote. You got to understand that it drives your vote, you know? So that's where I'm at with it, honestly.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, there's no Terminator or iRobot coming, y'all. It's the only way that's happening is if I don't believe, and I also believe like this, the people that are in power, they don't want to give up the power as is. Why would they give it up to a robot? You know, they don't want to give up their power to back to humanity, back to the people. You know, like our government, just speaking on just this United States, they don't want to give up the power of people being able to grow food for themselves. So they're dusting crops and they're doing all this other stuff, and you know, because they want you in the grocery store, but it's like they don't want to give up that power. So they're not going to create something, and that's my opinion. I don't think they're going to create something that's going to eventually take away their power. They're going to make sure that doesn't happen. They don't want to lose power.
Because the artificial intelligence isn't taking away their power, it's taking away yours.
Facts.
So that's why they created it. It's not it's still about you. You're giving it power. And it's still you pointing at everything else around them, and you're still not looking at them. So that's why they created it. You know, that like you said, they're not going to create something that takes away from them, but they will create something that takes away from you.
Right. Exactly. And that's just don't sign up for everything. You know, look into stuff. See if it's a toy or if it's actually going to help you in life, or if it could potentially harm you in life. So.
Yeah. So yeah, on that note, it was definitely a good read, a good understanding, just so people can just open up their minds and again, just do your research.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a good read too. You know, that go look up some information yourself, and you know, you can use AI or whatever, or the internet for certain stuff. It can bring, like, I like to bring out a lot of different
perspectives,
right? That's what I use it for. Perspectives that I would have to go and take, and I'm only allowed to take out so many books anyway from the library. So I think where I'm at is 5. Some other places might be 10 or whatever, but you're only allowed to take out so many books. You got it for 2 weeks or whatever. So it's like, there's a book that I want to be reading about something that this guy wrote or something. And like, I can grab that book and then this book and then this book right here. And then I can put them all together in one, you know, in 2 or 3 separate tabs. And then I can read them myself or whatever, you know what I mean? So like, use it for stuff like that. I don't think you should be using it to talk to your date on the fucking dating app. That is just insane. That's weird. That's crazy. But you know, to each their own. There's people out there having sex with their robots right now. You know, they'd have made robot girlfriends, and if you're that disconnected to humanity and yourself at the end of the day, then that's on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that note, y'all, we gonna get up out of here. I am Speculum Ambulo. This has been a great build. Make sure you looking in that mirror for the change you want to see and love your journey. And don't fear anything, y'all. Don't, be cautious. It's okay to be cautious. That doesn't mean, not to, be cautious of gravity. If you walk off the edge of a cliff, you know what will happen. But you don't have to fear things that, y'all get what I'm saying. I'm gonna leave it at that. And I love y'all.
Yeah, this is the Oracle. I want everybody to have a great week, a great day on purpose with purpose. Stay present, patient, and positive with all things. And like Spec said, just do your research. Anything can be used as a tool, but the tool you have power of, and you never let nothing take more control over you than you have over it.
Yeah.
So peace. I hope you guys tap in next Sunday. Continue to like, follow, and share, and tap in.
Yeah. And speaking of tools, one more thing, y'all. This is a pencil. I could use it to write and erase some mistakes that I may have written, or I could use it to stab somebody. Okay? So it's one or the other. It's all up to you, y'all. So don't fear anything because the power and the control is still in your hands. Mm-hmm. Until you relinquish it, it's yours. Yes. And yours alone. So don't fear nothing like that.
Yes.
So we out of here. Ashe, peace.
Yes, peace. Ashe.